Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Rage, by the way, back here with another New World video. I'm really excited to bring you this one as I've been working on it for a bit now. As you might already know, leveling in New World can be a very slow process. Between quests, gathering, weapon, and trade skills, there's just so much to take in. All in all, most credible sources say it takes between 100 and 2 hours of play time to hit max level 60. This video will be showing you guys how to cut that into under 48 hours. And yes, you heard that correctly, under 48 hours. As far as I know, I currently hold the speed record for 1 to 60 in New World. I tried doing some research and even asked some of the top end creators, and it seemed that the fastest before me was about 66 to 68 hours. The inspiration came about after server transfers were announced to be locked to regions. I had made a character on West to play with friends and couldn't deal with the queue times at the beginning. I ended up making a character on East, leveled to 60 in about 6 days playtime. Then the announcement came that we couldn't switch regions. I had to figure out the fastest way to catch up with my friends on West ASAP, so I could do all the level 60 content with them. I want to give a big shout out to Brantvx for helping me with this journey and funding me the entire way. He was kind enough to loan me a decent sum of gold, about 9k to be exact, to help out and try to speed up the process as much as possible. Our research and our combined gold helped me achieve level 60 in under 48 hours playtime. I think this time could be achieved way faster, as at first I had a lot of AFK time because I wasn't prepared to try and beat any records or anything like that. My viewpoint changed when I hit about 20 and realized how fast I could actually power through it. With all that being said, I'll show you guys exactly how I did it. I don't have much early leveling recording, as I did a lot of this off stream without the notion that it'd be a good idea to record, or there's no way to cheat the slash playtime in game, so you guys will be able to see exactly when I hit 60 and what the time was. This guide also takes into account that you might have an outsourced amount of gold to work with from a friend or someone. If you don't, these tips will still help, but it won't be as quick as I was able to do it. From level 1 to 10, you want to power through the main quest and get to the point where you pick a faction. You're not limited to a specific faction for this, so just pick whatever you want to play. After you do that, make your way to Everfall or Windsward, whichever is the main city for your server, and set your inn there. We're going to get started right away with refining trade skills and cooking. Refining takes about 700 to 800 gold to get to 100 skill for each trade. This is completely based off my server economy and could be different for you. The reason we go for 100 refining skill in each trade is this changes our town boards to give us the chance to get higher end quests that give us a ridiculous amount of XP. You can go up to 150 to 200 refining and get better quests, but getting to those levels can be costly and slow, so it depends on what your situation is for the gold that you have. Always remember to buy from Everfall or Windsward. These towns are most likely the busiest on your server and should have the cheapest prices. It's always a good idea to check using the drop down box on the trade market to see what the cheapest prices are currently. Next is cooking. Cooking is a crafting trade skill that gives you a ridiculous amount of XP. Every single crafting trade skill gives you the same XP, but cooking is by far the easiest and cheapest to power level from the ground up. We're going to be making light rations, travel rations, light meals, satisfying meals, and hearty meals. For the ingredients, I put together a simple chart to show you what is the best for ingredients on each tier. Pause the video here and take a screenshot or write this down. Keep in mind that water doesn't count as a food ingredient, even though it shows in the raw cooking ingredients. Also, make sure to use honey or saffron for the seasoning ingredients. I would also heavily recommend saving some food for later down the road, as you'll be making a lot and it's always helpful. Let's move on to the big boy, the town boards. Town boards are going to be your bread and butter for XP. A single town board quest can give you up to 5 to 10 times the experience a faction quest could give you. Not all town board quests are worth it though. You want to avoid the kill and area quests completely. These take way too long and don't give enough XP to make it worth the time. You're going to be 100% focusing on the gathering, material, and crafting quests. Be very careful of the way too expensive quests though. Quests like the carb stockpile, tadpole turn-in, potion turn-ins, etc. can be very costly. Always check the price of things before you go off buying them, and if they're way too expensive, don't bother, as managing our gold is a huge priority. I also had a complete rotation down as I was leveling up from town boards. My main city was Everfall, and that's where most of the economy was poured into on my server. I started at Everfall, picked up all the quests I could, headed towards Monarch Bluffs. Keep in mind I'm running to each area. When I got to Monarchs, I picked up every good quest off the board and went straight to Windsward. I did the same thing here and made my way back to Everfall. Once I returned to Everfall, I started buying and crafting all the things I needed to turn in for the boards. After that, I do the rotation again, but this time turning them in. By the time I got back to Everfall after turning the quests in, the board should be reset or close to resetting. It's about 30 minutes for the reset. This can be achievable if you start in Windsward as well. Just follow the same path but starting and stopping at Windsward. If you do this correctly and are being on time, you can net up to 30 to 40k per 30-minute resets. At level 59 to 60, that's only 3 or 4 rotations before you hit max. Keep in mind that the boards are also RNG and can give you really good quests or really bad ones. Just do any of them that give XP and aren't super expensive, as every bit counts. If your company owns a territory, it's pretty cheap to teleport to the city, so if they're running an outskirt territory, then you could easily fit that in a rotation as well. During my run, my company owned Ebonscale, so I managed to fit that in whenever I could. Just make sure to manage your Azoth appropriately. I also used a notepad and calculator on my other monitor to keep track of all the things I needed and to calculate how much gold I was using per trip to manage my gold better. This is very handy as you won't have to check your journal every 20 seconds as well. As we move on, we get to the main quests as a good source of XP. Keep in mind that we never want to do main quests if we're at Azoth cap or getting close to it. The main quests are your primary way of getting Azoth at low levels, and you don't want to waste the Azoth as we'll need it for fast traveling. Let's talk about gearing. Gearing this late into the game is super simplistic for us. Everything is super cheap and we can easily gear ourselves accordingly to our level. I would recommend light armor as you'll be able to dodge animation cancel to travel faster around areas and also kill things faster, as we receive a 20% damage buff from wearing light armor. The best weapons in my opinion are Fire Staff and Ice Gauntlet for AoE grinding plus dungeoning. These weapons have the biggest AoE capability and have a decent amount of evasion and CC. You also want to have a bow and or musket leveled up to the point where you can grab the dodge haste ability from the trees in their respective categories. This will give you a 10% movement speed buff as you're traveling and you're dodging from place to place. Finally, I prefer the Hatchet and Life Staff for normal questing purposes. These weapons have the best damage output and healing on top of being able to have ranged capabilities from the Life Staff to tag enemies. In between questing, we have dungeons. Dungeons are a very good source of XP from all the quests we can obtain from them. Make sure you're at the appropriate level for each dungeon you're entering to be able to get the quests and the repeatable quests for each respective dungeon. I would also be very wary on who you're dungeoning with. Some people are very eager to throw themselves in a dungeon right as they get a quest, and this can come at a price. Being under level, especially in the later dungeons, can slow down your progress immensely, as you might not be able to do the dungeon as fast or even complete it in some scenarios. Sometimes the faction leader of the settlement in an area has an expedition quest you can pick up. Make sure to check for those as well before you head in. Speaking of faction quests, I highly recommend doing 3 of them every day. The first 3 faction quests give bonus gold and XP when you turn them in. This bonus XP and gold scales depending on your location and level. Quests in Ebonscale will be worth more than quests in Everfall. For the final tip, I always recommend logging off in a sanctuary if possible. New World has rest experience for logging out safe zones, and this can stack a whole level or 2 if you're logged out for enough time. Even if it's just for a couple hours or overnight, I highly recommend it, as the most XP you can get out of your time, the better it'll be for you and your wallet if you're spending gold on town boards. That pretty much sums it up. I had a lot of fun putting this video together, and I'm so glad I was able to accomplish something that seemed almost impossible. I appreciate you guys taking your time out of the day to watch this, and as always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos every week. I also stream on Twitch. Make sure to check out all my links in the description below. Until next time, and good luck on your hunt, travelers.
We fucking did it. 1 day, 21 hours. Level 60. Absolutely crazy.